So I've decided to do something a little bit different with this video, and that is sort of a commentary stream of consciousness video, basically. In other words, it's going to be me talking at myself or at you for 30 minutes. I decided to go with Close Combat Gateway to Caen because it seems like a game that would actually work for this style of video. I've never done one of these before, so I'm not quite sure what to expect or how it's actually going to pan out, but we'll just see as we go along. And hopefully, since this game doesn't have such a wide reception, it sort of might act as a review or a bit of exposure for the 15 people who do actually watch my YouTube videos. And we'll see what I get out of it, and if I think it's worked, I might do another one in the future, or yeah, I'm not sure. We'll just see how it goes. The game probably is not going to make too much sense if you've not seen it before or you've not played it. People who are familiar with the Close Combat series will understand a lot of the concepts, hopefully. But I'll try and explain everything as we go along. I'll start out with just a couple of options, and these will make sense later as well. So the way I've got the game set up at the moment, trees are on, KIA soldiers are on. Obviously those both add a lot of realism to the actual battlefield when you see it. Team info icon is something that shows up underneath the unit markers. So I've got morale being displayed there. It can be any one of these options or nothing, indeed. Outline soldiers in black is what I choose for the soldier outline. Once again, you can choose any of these options here, but it doesn't really make sense in the game to me. It doesn't look very realistic, put it that way. This here, the team icon, it actually makes sense where it sits. The actual outline just makes the game look very cartoonish. Team list, minimap, soldier list, and display timer and morale, they're all self-explanatory. I'll explain these in a little bit more detail later when you actually see them. As for general options, fast, well, the game can get tedious as it is at this pace, so we'll leave it on fast. Screen resolution is the native resolution of my desktop because we're playing in windowed mode. Windowed mode, you actually get a bit more performance, not that it matters, the game is 20 years old. Scroll speed fast, that's personal preference. Music off because it's terrible. Videos, well, that's just related to the campaign. Sound, obviously, and fog effect, not quite sure what that does, but it's off anyway. And native language for the soldiers is fairly self-explanatory. So the best way I thought to showcase the game would be through a single mission. So there's just a list of battles here on all the maps that come with the campaign, basically. The infantry versus infantry at Bougy, I can't pronounce that, so we'll move on from that anyway. This is a fairly good one that I thought I could start with. It's got all of the soldier slots available in the battle group, so I think the game says that that's the equivalent of 3 battalions, but in essence it's a company, an infantry company with support. And we should be able to see a whole range of things come out through this mission. So the settings, this scroller basically determines the morale of your force. So if you put it on elite, your soldiers are less likely to break. If you put it on recruit, they're more likely to break. In terms of the campaign, it also determines how much support you get in terms of mortars and artillery and air support and stuff like that. So elite gets heaps more than recruit. I'll leave it even for the moment. When I get through the next screen, I'll explain why that is. The realism settings, basically you check all of these on, the game becomes easier for yourself. Check all of them on for the enemy, the game becomes a lot harder for yourself. Always obey orders is a contentious one as far as close combat goes. The game relies a lot on a psychological system, and when soldiers run across open areas, they tend to take cover when they get shot at. However, it's not necessarily realistic in the context of what happens in the game, particularly if soldiers are crossing a narrow alleyway. If they get shot at by a machine gun, they have a tendency to lie on the ground, cancel their move order, and try and shoot back. That's not the best for their survivability, so people prefer to put always obey orders on, but it does actually turn off a bunch of other psychological aspects of the game, so I sort of leave it off and just deal with the aspects of it that it messes with. Battle ends when force morale gets too low. I've just got that off, that doesn't really matter. Time expires in 30 minutes or all victory locations, and there will be a 2-minute warning. So without further ado, we'll go through to the next screen. Okay, so this is the battle group screen. So basically what you pick here is what shows up on the map when you go to fight the battle. You can choose between everything that's listed on the right here, so long as it's available for the particular area. So for instance, a rifle platoon up here, you can only choose from rifle platoons, and support, you can only choose from support options. We are today playing as a company from the 10th Highland Light Infantry, which was, I think, the Glasgow City Regiment from memory. From 227 Brigade, 15 Division. So 15 Division was 15 Scottish Infantry Division. 227 Brigade was only made up of Scottish infantry, and the 10th Battalion Highland Light Infantry is the battalion size unit that we're playing as. All of these are realistic. They're all actual units that took part in Operation Epsom. Most things are modelled correctly as well. So I think the order of battle is pretty accurate. Our opponent is the 25th Panzer Grenadier Regiment of 12 SS Panzer, which was the Hitler Jugend Division, so Hitler Youth. These guys are all Panzer Grenadiers. Most of them were Hitler Youth soldiers, and their NCOs were made up of guys who had been to Russia and come back, so pretty experienced. I think they only saw action at the start of the Normandy campaign, so they're all pretty fresh. But they were, I know the commander, I'm not sure if he was the commander of the 25th Regiment or the actual Panzer Division himself. Kurt Meyer was indicted for war crimes when this division actually executed a whole bunch of Canadian prisoners on the 8th of June. So they've got a history for being a bit vicious. The reason before that I was keeping everything sort of stock standard in terms of the difficulty slider was that every one of these Panzer Grenadier sections has an MG42. Those weapons are vicious, and they will tear apart any infantry caught in the open or even behind pretty solid cover. So it's going to be a difficult battle. At least it didn't give these guys any armoured support. I'm not even sure if it's available in here for them to choose. Oh, it is. They've got 2 assault guns, heavy assault guns. The game, depending on which single mission you play, sometimes assigns random support or different companies from the available battalion. So luckily enough, we've only got 2 mortars and a couple of 2cm flak guns to deal with. These pack guns here are not going to be too much of an issue, although if they catch you out in the open, they can do a little bit of damage. And the only reason I'm looking at the opponent is not really to cheat. It's just for a bit of exposition. And I mean, realistically, going into an action such as this, the company commander or the battalion commander is not going to be completely unaware of what he's facing. He would know that there was Panzer Grenadiers opposite him, and he would know what their capabilities were. The only thing I've learned from this is the fact that they don't actually have any armor, so it's not too much of an advantage. Anyway, we'll go back to my unit now. So I mean, I'm pretty happy with the setup as it is. This is stock standard. You can't change. There's no real change up in here. It's just except from which company you're choosing from the different battalions within the regiment and the brigade. So these are the 10th Highland Infantry, 10th Battalion Highland Infantry, and we can choose from 2 Gordons or 2 Argylls as well. It doesn't really make any difference, but for completeness, we'll just start with some companies from the same battalion and keep the support in the same area as well. So the British rifle platoons here have 2 mortars, a platoon headquarters, and a Piat. So a Piat is a personal infantry anti-tank weapon. It's not going to be an issue now, but I can't change it. Basically, they're a wasted slot now, considering that the opponent has Panzer Grenadiers up to the hilt. We'll just have to deal with that in a different way. As far as support goes, mortars are always good, but if we look at the map, we'll see if there's anything else that could potentially come into play. So this house here looks pretty big, so that looks like one of the 3-story houses that are modelled in the game. And if we're starting up here, by the way, the Germans are starting down here, so this roadway could be pretty critical, and that house, if it's got a line of sight straight down the middle, is probably a good place for a machine gun. So I think we'll go and get rid of one of our mortars and take a Vickers medium machine gun, which is the equivalent of a tripod mounted MG42, which these guys don't have. Obviously they've got the light, as it says down there, light machine gun 42, although that's a bit of a misnomer. They're all pretty heavy. In terms of other support, I might get a Bren gun carrier perhaps. He can come down here and take this victory location, which is the objective of the game. Take victory locations or destroy the enemy. So it doesn't look like there's going to be much happening down here, to be honest. Like there's 4, 5 victory locations right in the middle here that are going to be where all the main fighting is happening. This farmhouse as well is probably going to be pretty critical. Although, yeah. So I think what I'm going to do is basically concentrate all of my units up in this sort of area. The closer you get to those MG42s, the better, because at least then the British infantry weapons have a chance to put some effective fire down. The standard British platoons, as you can see, have 1 rifle section and 3 Bren sections. The rifle section's got a Sten gun, which is, it's a light submachine gun, and the Bren sections have the Bren. So the Bren doesn't stand any chance against an MG42 one-on-one, but at least if we get them close enough, the riflemen and the Bren can hopefully do some damage. Where are we? Back to the map. Yeah, so I think we'll keep everybody up here with a machine gun up there. The Bren gun carrier down here should have a machine gun as well, and we'll just send a couple of guys to take this point and then concentrate in this hedgerow. Looks like an orchard in there as well. Alright, so grab a Bren carrier as well, a couple of mortars, and maybe one more medium machine gun, perhaps. Alright, just to keep it interesting as well, I'm going to impose a couple of rules on myself, and that is I'm not going to allow myself to issue a move order to any infantry unless they're in the command radius of one of the headquarters sections. So that's not actually a limitation of the game itself, it's just something I'm going to try and impose on myself for completeness. In terms of communicating with vehicles and headquarters communicating with each other, I tend to think that they would have some form of radio, so I'm going to give myself 250, 300 meters leeway in terms of that. So basically all orders will come from, I'll give myself a company commander. So if all orders come down from the company headquarters, he has to be within 250 meters of the platoon headquarters, who has to be within the radius of, well, within the vicinity of one of his units before they can do move orders. In terms of anything else, like fire orders and defend orders would usually be handled at section level by the section commander anyway, so I'm sort of happy to give myself that allowance. Ambush, I'll make it that I have to have the platoon commander within the radius, because ambushing is obviously more of a setup style defense rather than just something that a section commander would orchestrate by himself. I might as well give myself another platoon headquarters just for the support weapons here. I suppose that like any platoon headquarters or company headquarters should be able to order any rifle section around. I think that's fair enough. It'll become apparent how difficult this might become when you actually see it. And just for interest's sake, I think we'll give everybody a name. So we'll have, what are we actually? Captain. Alright. So we'll have Captain Jones. That's fitting. The platoon commander of weapons platoon. Good child. Well, he can be Lieutenant Brincat. We'll have one platoon under the command of Lieutenant Morrow, and we'll have number 8 rifle platoon under the command of Lieutenant Mark. Now, unfortunately, that doesn't actually change the soldiers' names, but you know, it's good enough. It'll show up on the battle screen as these people. That's the other thing that obviously I just touched on then, is the soldier screen here. So these are the actual names and ranks of the men who will appear on the field. And when you're doing a campaign, any awards that they get in this area, any notations they get in this area and any kills they get in this area actually carry through. So if you have someone who is lucky enough to survive 3 or 4 battles, he gets a cumulative kills awards, all that kind of stuff. It doesn't happen very often. This game is pretty brutal. I'd be surprised to see at the end here if, 50% of these men are actually alive. Well, let's say functional. There's incapacitated and dead, basically, is the choices. Well, wounded, incapacitated, dead, but wounded doesn't happen that much. So we'll go back now. I'm pretty happy with that setup, and I'm pretty happy with the sort of plan that I've established, which is we'll concentrate around this area with a machine gun up here, and perhaps, depending on the line of sight we can get from here, a medium machine gun in this hedgerow, but that wall there and this wall here might be a bit too high for them to see from the hedgerows. These houses look like they might be 2 stories, but we'll have a look in a minute anyway. So, pretty happy with the setup. Obviously, this is not going to be... I'm not going to change any of this, just for fairness. These guns will be a worry. The flak guns more so than the pack guns. Their mortars are going to be a bit of a worry as well. I think in Epsom or in Normandy itself, British casualties were caused, like 75% of British casualties were related to mortars, I think, from memory. It is a high stat like that, but I might be talking out of my ass, who knows. So I'm happy with a couple of mortars. We'll try and destroy their guns by indirect fire if we actually happen to see any of them. It's pretty easy to destroy them with direct fire as well, if you're close enough. Same with these Panzer Grenadiers. The plan is not to be cut down in the open. We'll have to get close enough and destroy them with direct fire and flanking, but we'll see how we go. Alright, so we'll go through to the map screen now and start the battle. Alright, so this is unit deployment mode, and this is how we actually fight this battle. These are the units. Here's as they exist. This up the top is the morale and timer. So as units are killed, surrender, or wounded, this morale bar decreases depending on the situation. If you take casualties with leaders in particular, that will cripple your morale very quickly. If the company commander happens to get killed, then it's pretty devastating in terms of the rest of them, the knock-on effect. The bar over here is just the unit bar. I forget what the game actually calls it, but this is where you can select and snap to units. It also gives you their status, so everybody at the moment is ambushing by default. That means they can't be seen if they're in a hedgerow, basically, and they'll wait until the enemy gets within 40 or 50 yards before they start opening fire. Down the bottom right here is the soldier screen, so this shows you the names and the statuses of each individual soldier and the weapons which they're currently armed with. So here's me, Captain Barclay, I should say. So he's company commander, Holt second in command, going down through Taylor, Warbley and Hutton, and their weapons, their ammunition, and their role, so anti-personnel. Piat here as well has 2 guys with the weapon, the Piat, the rifleman, Clemenson, Miller. He's the gunner loader, and they're both healthy. So that's the way you can tell who's doing what their status is. The green bar underneath each unit here is their morale. So that is the team icon display. So if you change that to cover, for instance, the Vickers out here in the field would have a empty bar because there is no cover whatsoever where he is right now. You put him in this hedgerow and it will be full green. Once again, well, not once again, first of all, cover does not equal concealment in this game either. So if you're sitting in a house and you're shooting, you're covered but you're not concealed. Hedgerows are pretty good for both. They're pretty thick, but bullets will go straight through them, so they're concealment more than they are cover. And it's just a matter of picking the terrain that's best for you in any given situation, although you can't really, like in here, you're limited to going inside of buildings and stuff, which are pretty solid and pretty good. In terms of deployment now, I think I'll stick with trying to keep my platoons and sections together as they are. We'll have second platoon under Mr. Morrow down here. focus mainly up here, I think, or depending on how big is the map. It's a bit smaller than I initially expected. Alright, so basically I think we'll have a platoon. I don't want to cut these two platoons in half, actually. I think we might have Tim's platoon here set across the road, and half of it can take this house and the other half can be up here, and then we can support Lieutenant Mark's platoon up the top, who's probably going to cop the brunt of the casualties. I make no apology for that. So we'll get the Bren gun carrier down here first. Now, to issue orders in this game, you right-click on the unit, and there are your options. Either that, or you can hit the keyboard shortcuts. I'll just I usually right-click unless I know what I'm doing. So V for fire, for instance, is a pretty obvious one that I use straight away, and M and N depending on ambush or whatnot. So because it's a deployment phase, we can issue orders off the bat. For liberty's sake, I'm just going to assume that they've come into this with a plan, so even if no one's in the range of the green command circles there, which I'll explain in a minute, I'll just presume that they have already got a battle plan. So we'll move the Bren gun carrier down all the way down the end here to go past that flag, and then hopefully he can nip back up into the middle relatively quickly and not get slaughtered doing it. For those not familiar, a Bren gun carrier is essentially an open-air troop carrier. So the little things up the top, although it's going to be obscured by the title, although here we go. So this here is like a bench where you can sit, I think, 3 soldiers aside, and you've got a driver and a gunner in there as well. So he's got a Bren gun, thus the name Bren carrier. It's pretty well armed. It's a handy little vehicle, although it is susceptible to pretty much every form of fire. So you don't really need a anti-tank gun to kill it. You can kill it with a machine gun if you catch it on the flank in particular. So we've got him going down that way. Now we'll spread out these guys here. So we'll get Mr. Morrow. I'll just select everybody and then bring them down here. So hopefully they're in the open so I can see what I'm doing. Oh, there's the Bren carrier. I'm going to have to reassign that now. There you are, Morrow. So, have we got everybody? Yes, yes, no. Rifle section, Bren section, Bren section, Bren section. Alright, let's do this real quick. Alright. You belong to Mr. Mark. So we'll get... So rifle sections are quite underarmed as far as it goes compared to the Bren section. They don't have a Bren light machine gun. They've only got that. The section commander who's got the Sten, which is not as good by far. But that's okay. I mean, I usually keep the rifle sections next to the platoon commander just because they can't really do much. In this instance, I might have them pop down real quick and grab that point that's hiding in the trees there. So once again, I'm just taking the liberty to sort of assign orders now, while I presume that the company's actually got a battle plan, and then once we kick off, only move orders can be issued from within the green command radius here that each command unit has. So hopefully that makes sense. Obviously the size of the circle and the colour of the circle is indicative of the command potential of the unit. So green, very good, going down through yellow to red. The red's coming from the section commanders here, so War is a rifle section commander in one platoon. Doesn't have a very good command potential. Not saying anything about him individually, but that's just the way the game works, obviously. So now we'll start organising these guys here. So that rifle section's already going down. This Bren section, we'll get them to move into here, and we'll have another Bren section come with them. The name of the game is fire and maneuver, basically. You don't want sections operating independently. If they start getting fired upon, you always want someone else there to help out. If you don't have anyone there to help out, it can get messy for them. So I'll bring the platoon commander down here. I've just changed my mind. I'm going to move another section across the road to help out. And I think I've moved the wrong one. No, that's right. So these guys are going to be supporting first platoon with Lieutenant Mark up here. And I'll just grab all his men now. they're all crammed into here. Okay. The thing about when placing men in this game, at least in the deployment screen, is they always snap to cover, which makes sense, because no one likes to be sitting out in the open. It can be quite frustrating though. So we'll have this Vickers is going to move fast straight away up into this mansion here, and hopefully from there, yeah, it looks like they can get a pretty clear shot down that road. We'll get a Bren section to move with them through this house and into the hedgerow. We'll get another Bren section to go with those guys to there. Another Bren section up into here as well. And we'll get the rifle section to come down here and give a little bit of support to the dudes in Maison Moncure. I have zero French pronunciation, by the way. All the French I know comes from La Tour de France, so not very much. Weapon support with Lieutenant Brincat here. We'll get the mortars dug in the hedgerow. These 3-inch mortars have quite a good range. The 2-inch mortars, not so much. As long as they're within, yeah, so he's within command radius, that's okay with that. And the company commander, we'll get him coming down here as well. He can come and sit quite central. And Mark, the first platoon commander, I think we'll get him, he's going to need to be somewhere quite close to the action here. We'll get him coming down here, I think. We might actually get the company commander to move into this. So we'll get the company, indecision. Indecision gets people killed. That rifle set can go there. The company commander can come down to here. And the platoon commander can come into this house. That should give us enough options, I hope. Now, I had another machine gun as well, and I'm going to get these guys to move down this road, and hopefully they can get into this hedgerow. I want them to have an angle onto this square here, because then that's going to be critical as well. Alright, so without further ado, I think I'm pretty happy with that setup. So we'll see how we go. Alright, so the men are now issuing the orders I gave them at the start of the game. And I forgot my Piat section. Well, if I'm going to play by my own rules, that Piat section can stay there until we get someone over there to have a look. So we'll get Brincat to come over and rescue them.
Area secured.
So as you can see, the morale of the soldiers down here who don't actually have a section commander near them has gone down markedly. These guys are okay because they're self-sufficient and armoured. And you can see in the status here that they're all running. At the moment they're healthy. In a minute, once they've gone for their little expedition, they'll probably end up being winded. Particularly these heavy weapons teams, they get winded very, very quickly, understandably as well.
In position.
Okay, so we just had a message. The Vickers team took that point, so they'll get an act of bravery for that, for what it's worth. Alright, so far so good. We haven't had contact with the enemy yet, but that's fine. I want to get myself into a position before that happens. Basically, we'll let them walk into it, hopefully kill a bunch of them around this area here, and then push through onto the objectives and take them.
In position.
Alright, so are these guys within command radius?
Redeployed.
I suppose I should have defined, as long as one soldier's within the command radius in question, I'm happy to give them an order. That sort of indicates that the platoon commander's shouted to this bloke here standing in the window, and has told the section commander what to do next. So I'll issue these guys an ambush order. Once again, this is probably not going to make too much sense until it plays out. Ambush makes the men seek cover and hide, and they will only engage the enemy. We got some mortars, that's handy. They will only engage the enemy when the enemy is within 30, 40 yards, and it's quite devastating, particularly if you catch the enemy in the open. So if they are in here, these guys probably wouldn't ambush them if they are this far away because of the hedgerow. But if the enemy advanced into here, they would light them up with all their weapons, grenades, and it can be quite devastating. So, just getting back to this Piat.
Redeployed.
Come on, there we go. Alright, let's get you up here. Not that you're going to be able to do much, not very effective. Bren gun carrier is coming, excellent. Okay, so what we'll do now, we'll push these guys through here. So issuing a move fast command orders the soldiers to sprint. That's fairly obvious. There is a move command as well. They take their time moving through different terrain elements, and they can react to fire a bit better if they're moving. There's also a sneak command as well. Obviously these guys are sneaking at the moment. Cover and concealment is preeminent in this case, because you don't want them to be seen. When they're finished sneaking, they usually default to the ambush stance by themselves. Oh, here we go. So we're about to take fire now. And I've just broken my own rule. You guys can defend. There you go. So, if I want these guys to stop, which I do, get the platoon commander up here, quick smart. Didn't really want to give away my position, and this is why, because the Germans are going to be taking up all, oh, there we go already. So, machine guns, MG42 shooting at this infantry section, and that looks like a Flak-gun. Alright boys, get out of there.
Redeployed.
Get out, get out, get out, get out, get out. There is an anti-tank gun down there somewhere, or a field gun. You just heard a fight on this house here, so we'll get these guys out of it. Alright, now we've got something to look at in the soldier screen here. So, Robbins, the section commander, is wounded. That's him lying right there. He's now out of the battle. Crossman suppressed, Duke winded, Pressfield suppressed. These two are cowards, so they're not going to do anything. We've got this Vickers is going to work over here. And that sound is a mortar. Okay, so they're trying to lob mortars into my Vickers. That's fair enough. Get the platoon commander to get down as well. So I'm just going to... I'm in a bit of a bind here at the moment. We'll get these guys to ambush, sorry. Obviously you can set the direction of attack as well. How's your line of sight? Excellent. So this is exactly what I wanted this Vickers team to be able to do, is cut this road here. So hopefully any Germans trying to move from the north down to the south across the road are going to have a bit of difficulty doing so. And they're aiming right now, so here we go. Yes, excellent. Oh, we just caught it. Alright, Gerard's dead, that's not good. Those mortars are doing some work now. So hopefully someone picks up the gun who's got it Reynolds. Yep, okay. So, this Vickers team's in a bit of trouble as well, but that doesn't surprise me because they're exposed. So I'll get this section commander to fire on this enemy here now. Alright, looks like there's a lot of enemy jam-packed in around here, so we'll start getting a bit of suppression out. What I'm doing now is just selecting my mortars, obviously commanding them to fire at general sort of area targets. I've called down that off-map mortar support as well. And just set my own mortars to fire in those areas there. Okay, so the enemy is really pushing now. I've just lost a Vickers team. Okay, they're actually killed in action now. That's it for them. Alright, Morrow, get back here. We'll get these guys into the action. Bren carrier, let's go. We'll get you up the action as well. Hopefully you can take that point. So, yeah, happy that the Bren gun carrier, by the way, was within 200 yards of the platoon commander. So, he's got radio comms. Sounds like our mortars are actually... That's good to see. There's a pack gun as well, so someone's seen him. What we'll do now, we'll redirect these 2-inch mortars, because they're not... 2-inch mortars aren't very effective against enemy in cover. This pack gun here is right out in the open though, so we'll get them onto that straight away. as the mortar fires, you'll see up here in the left-hand corner, they're actually aiming now because they've got a new target to aim at. The first shot's usually a sighting round, so they'll lose 1 round of ammunition as they try to sight in on their target. From there, they've got their predestined targets though, so if I was to fire on that one, they wouldn't require any aiming at all. There's a lot of German infantry moving up the road now. This is not a good thing either. This rifle section up here. So that Bren section there is obviously ambushing, so they're going to wait until these Germans come within their field of fire. My mortars aren't doing too much damage to that gun, and they're out of ammo as well, so we'll get one of the 3-inch mortars to have a crack. Get these guys. Yes, these guys need to open fire right now. Here comes some more German mortars. I don't know who they're shooting at. Okay, they've shot at. Well, they shot at the lieutenant over there. All right.
Redeployed.
There is a lot of German infantry packed in right there. Oh dear. Unsuppressed machine gun will do a little bit of damage if that doesn't go unchecked. As you can see, that MG42 is going to work on my men now. So, try and shoot back for what it's worth. Hopefully these guys can return fire as well. They can. We'll get these, while these guys are out in the open here, we'll try and smash them with some mortar fire as well. And we'll get this rifle section to try and return fire as well. Now there are Germans, I was about to say there are Germans in the house just next to me here. Oh good. So we'll set these guys to defend. Hopefully they can actually shoot at some Germans who are in here. This section's taken a few casualties as well. Obviously when men are sitting next to their bleeding comrades, it's not very good for morale. But they're going to have to hold that position for the time being. Okay, we've got Germans in the orchard now as well. Get everybody here on defend and hopefully they can start opening up on them if they get a chance. That's the Vickers firing again. The Germans in here are actually engaging these men. I couldn't really tell though what was going on. Alright, so I'm happy for the moment with how we're doing. We've sort of got command in the centre of the map. That pack gun's been knocked out, excellent, so I'll bring my Bren gun carrier up now. Everybody's looking in fine shape. Obviously casualties expected at the moment, but I'm sort of happy holding my position. These guys here might be a bit of a pain in the ass. I'm not quite sure about those guys either. Just explaining this next piece of gameplay as well. The green line indicates a clear shot. So the solid green line indicates a clear shot. At 70 meters, the shot of the section is obscured but still clear. So there's a bit of foliage in the way, but they know the enemy's there. Red, obviously no shot at all, therefore they can't engage. And the colour of the crosshair is indicative of the damage that the section or the infantryman can do to the target. So at the moment here we've got German infantry in the open. They have an obscured shot, but they can take it and they can do full damage to the target. The icon goes from just a given soldier in the section. So while this section, it says they haven't got a shot, there's probably a couple of guys in there who actually do. They're sort of on defend at the moment, so they're figuring it out. These looks like those Germans there are actually falling back, or they're moving across the coast anyway. So they're in the open, so we'll try and line them up. While that's going on, I'm going to try going to try and get this Bren section across into the Abattoir. If you click and hold, it shows you exactly where your soldiers are going to end up, or near enough anyway. Alright, we'll get... Yeah, okay, so they're taking fire from that area there. Get the mortars back onto it again.
Area secure.
Okay, good, the Abattoir's ours now, excellent. This is going much better than I expected to be honest. The Germans have massive superior firepower, but I've sort of got them trapped down here in the back corner of the game. Depending on what happens to this section, I suppose. Alright, here we go. This is one MG42 at the moment firing on this section. We'll see what happens. Hopefully they can get him straight away. There was fire coming from that house as well. Is it? There they are in the front. Okay. Alright, yes. There we go, excellent. Oh, and that guy just got creamed as well. Alright, it's time to push across this orchard now. I'm not quite sure where those guys went, so this could be risky. We'll bring up this rifle section as well. That Bren section's fine. This Bren section's probably not going to last, but we'll keep them there anyway. Alright, push through. Let's get this Bren carrier coming down. We'll get the platoon commander to come up and... he's actually okay there. He's doing some damage, I think. Okay, so... platoon commander's got a clear shot, but this guy is hiding behind a corner, so he's not going to do much damage to him. The dude in the house, however, you can probably see him through the window, so we'll get him to engage there. I think this was a mistake. The AI, I've not seen them do stuff like that before. That was a mistake. They were in the open. The Vickers got killed pretty early, but we managed to pin them there with mortars and kill them with rifle fire. Oh, one guy made it in. Alright. Okay, so here's the Bren carrier. Get him to move down a little bit further. I'm not quite sure where their other guns are, so this could be a bad decision. But... Alright. Hopefully this section here can provide a bit of flank protection for these guys, because they're about to push straight through. So the idea is fire and maneuver. Move these two sections up now, they can hopefully take a foothold, and then we'll move the other guys up once they've completed that bound. It's going relatively to plan though, I think. Like, there's actually no Germans down here in the south, which is handy as well. I mean, well, they took the cafe, no one at the farm. And as I anticipated, most of the fighting has occurred around the square here and up in the orchard. Oh, who just got killed? Hopefully this Bren carrier can actually get itself into the fight here. Disengage them. Obviously, I mean, you can't do much damage. Like, these sections right now aren't doing too much damage to that guy in there, but I mean, he's not fired anything for a couple of seconds, so that's the idea. We just have to be mindful of the ammunition. Okay. So we'll put these guys to ambush now. So ambush effectively stops them shooting. They're with the realm. Okay, so these guys are here. Excellent. We'll get them to defend that way. We'll get this rifle section now to push through. We'll see what's going on at the Tyneside crossing. It's time to get the platoon commander to move in as well. Keep him on the far right here. Okay, here we go. Excellent. They're in the open. Kill them. Don't think the Vic's got a shot. That Vickers has paid for itself though. Well, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 German casualties. Oh, that's okay. So someone in the Bren section ran out of ammo. He's picked up. He must have picked up another weapon. We'll see now, when this guy with the Bren gun runs out of ammunition, he should be able to pick up a rifle off his dead body. Okay, they made it. Excellent. So the crossing's ours. You think you notice? Yes, you are. This Bren section now to move up. I think we're just going to have to assault through this position. And these guys are fine as well. We'll move them up, get the platoon commander to move up here, give them a morale boost and keep them within the command range. Oh, there we go. Push through. Okay, so if you move fast onto an enemy target, it means your soldiers will assault them. Okay, good. So hopefully we're attacking them from 2 angles now. Hopefully that should give them enough to think about. There's the machine gun. Come on, come on. Push through. The platoon commanders come up as well. That's what I wanted. Let's go, let's go. Come on, fellas. Suppress, suppress. Alright, we'll get this section here to suppress them. We'll just get this section to go for it. Come on. Come on, Lieutenant Mark. Stop being a pussy. Oh, here we go. This... Oh, flak-gun 20mm. That's not good. Still in command radius. Yep, fine. Get out of there. Get out of there, get out of there, get out of there. Oh, dear. Oh, they surrendered. Fuck. Get him. Yeah, be back in the radius. Get out of there. Get out of there. Command radius. No, not quite. That's the most feared sound in the close combat arsenal. The MG42. Get out of there. This is the, when I was talking in the options earlier about always obey commands, this is the hangover from that. So these guys are obviously scared shitless, and understandably they don't want to run, but it's in their best interest to run. If they get pinned there by that machine gun, they're fucked. There was a flak gun, that 2cm flak gun just in this area as well, but I don't know. Four rounds each, that's not going to be enough, really. Okay, you guys can stop shooting now. Those flak gun 20mm, for anyone who's seen Saving Private Ryan, there's one of those at the bridge battle. There's one that Ryben flanks and kills with his BAR. And they are pretty deadly. Okay, now that I've secured the north side here pretty well.
Sir, enemies offer to ceasefire.
Alright, so their morale's got low enough now that they want to throw it in, but I don't think we'll give them that option.
Back at it, soldier.
Alright, Wirebeard. Where's he at? Oh. Yeah, there you go. So, Longworth, who was the Bren gun, has picked up a rifle. You're in command radius, we'll just get you to stop, that's fine. Okay, so, what I think, I've got 9 minutes left now. What I think I might do... That hurt. What I think I might do is try and exploit down south here. I'm not sure, like I said, I'm not sure where their flak guns are, and this is going to be a risky run, but we'll see how we go. We'll get this section down here. They've got, yeah, they've got plenty of ammo. Excellent. Okay. If you have a shot, take it. Where's this other guy? Who's he shooting at? He's shooting at these guys as well. Where are you? Where are you? In there. So, here, these guys, when it's yellow like that, they don't have a shot, but they're going to fire at the area if they can see it. Sprint section of movement. No, where are you going? Oh, Cassidy. So what's happened in this instance, these soldiers are getting agitated, so this is the act on own initiative descriptor, or menu option, I should say. So these guys have decided that the position they're in is not very good enough, so they're all fucking about, basically. And what they need to be doing... Well, they're getting themselves killed, that's alright. We'll get them out of there. Nope. Come on. Come on. Okay, good. So these guys have made it down here pretty well. So what I'm going to do now, try and get them across that area. 3-inch mortars. Where's the other one? There we go. Essentially what that's doing is laying down smoke, and this... Who's doing that right now? These guys. Oh, that's a mortar section. Okay, so if we went through there, we'd do a bit of damage. Is that a mortar as well? No.
Scratch one. Target eliminated.
Excellent. So they're basically, I probably would have won now with the morale victory because they are below 30%. That's essentially that's what it gauges it off. We'll try and get down here though and take these last points to actually make it total victory. So we got. Alright. So once again with that concept of fire and maneuver, we'll leave this Bren section here and this rifle section up in that house. And we'll get these guys across the road as quickly as we can.
Sir, enemies offered a ceasefire.
I'm going to get the company commander to come down here to give these guys a bit of command radius, because this platoon commander is going as well. Alright, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Get across that field, boys. Actually, I'm pretty happy they're not getting shot at all. We'll move this Bren section now. It might not be the best idea, but we'll get them going anyway. Come on, company commander, let's go. So, taking what, sporadic rifle fire now from this house. I don't know how much ammo those MG42s carry, but suffice to say they're probably out of it.
Area secured.
Okay, the farm's ours, excellent.
Can't go there.
Yeah, no. Get yourself. Oh, come down here. We got. No, we're not in command radius. Come on, platoon commander. Okay, okay, okay. Alright, Bren section, you can go for it. Platoon commander, let's go. So this guy here says Rollinson. He's actually separated at the moment. There we go. Now he's back with them. Occasionally soldiers get lost, disconnected from their units. They get separated, so they're just by themselves, basically. You'll sometimes see stragglers, particularly, although the game doesn't actually show it, the terrain can be muddy, depending on the weather conditions. There are weather conditions that have to be taken into consideration. If they're moving across a muddy field and then through a couple of hedgerows and then through an orchard, you can get a section that's spread out over 50 or 60 yards, and with the poor visibility they can't see each other.
Sir, enemies offered a ceasefire.
And obviously that breaks them up and they get disconnected. So
In position.
get Morrow to come down here and then come to this wall, because I'll move that other section up. Placing waypoints by holding shift. Someone else just surrendered. This guy. That's fair enough. His 4 friends are dead. Well, 2 of them are dead and 2 of them are severely wounded. There is no medic function in this game. A lot of people have asked for it. I'm not quite sure how they would implement it. I mean, perhaps like a combat medic who comes in and drags someone away. But realistically, the battles are over before that would happen. Like, in here now is probably the time where you could get someone up to get a guy out, but there's no real... I mean, obviously in real life, this dude, if he's in sort of grass or whatever, and these guys were in the middle of a contact, then one of his buddies could probably drag him back to here, but, I mean, that doesn't matter. So, Williams is left there to bleed out, effectively. Although, since he's only unconscious and wounded, he would probably come back into any campaign game in like a couple of turns. There's a turn-based campaign aspect to the game as well. And now we've got these infantry sections down here. That's good for us. Push this Bren section across. These guys are not quite back in command range. I think they were when I issued the order. I hope they were when I issued the order.
Area secured.
Alright, we'll get this Bren section to come back into the fight now. Although they were getting smashed by that MG42 earlier. Hopefully they can do something against this mortar. Mortar sections obviously are riflemen first, mortarmen second, but you know, they're not crack line troops, and they usually break or get killed pretty easily. One of them was shooting a pistol just before, which is not much use. Okay, so we've taken the cafe now, and our men up here are actually engaging. There we go, someone else has surrendered as well. Let's keep pushing through with this flank. I'm not sure if I've killed everybody in this row of houses here. We'll have a look anyway, because I'm about to go across the street. So second platoon, you know, they've seen a little bit of action. The lion's share has been done by Lieutenant Mark up here, that's for sure. Oh, obviously, and his, you know, the augmentation from second platoon, but company commanders down here still. Okay. Now that we're set up here, let's get this Bren section to push across. Oh, they've got some infantry caught in the open out there as well. He's lying in a shell crater, which is a fair bit of cover, so you are able to determine the cover value and the height of certain objects on the map by right-clicking on them. So down the bottom left there, you've got rocky debris, elevation 92 meters, cover great. So that guy was hiding in what I assume is, I'm not going to be able to see it because he's in it, was either rocky debris, or for instance over here, sorry, here's a better example, shell hole from one of those mortar barrages. It's good cover, so they're essentially modelled as like a man-sized crater that a dude can get in. And as long as he can get his head underneath the level of the field, he's usually pretty content. We'll move the platoon commander over now, get these guys to push right up into this corner and hopefully assault through those Panzer Grenadiers. With these guys providing suppressing fire. Oh, fuck. So, firing blind, he doesn't actually... He knows the Germans are right there. And that's that, as I'm in the middle of a sentence. Alright, Allied major victory, that's what I wanted. So that went a lot better than expected, to be perfectly honest. I have played against like battalions of Panzer Grenadiers like that before and been absolutely slaughtered. So I think they made their mistake here in the middle where, I mean, there was, what, 15 wounded Germans, dead Germans in that little square there. This machine gun didn't actually work to its full capacity. I mean, he would have destroyed those, but the mortars got to him first. I was pretty happy with the placement of the Vickers up here as well, straight down that road. That was certainly worth their weight in gold. They killed, what, 7 or 8 guys coming up here and effectively cut that road so the Germans couldn't use it to come through here. If you issue a move fast order, for instance, men go for the quickest route, which is if someone's here and they want to get to here, it's on the nice paved surface or packed surface as opposed to picking their way through apple trees. So that was handy. Satisfied that the Bren gun carrier managed to get this aspect done as well. Obviously he wasn't very effective in the centre here, but that's neither here nor there, I suppose. I just used him to get down here very quickly to take those 2 points. This farmhouse, I suppose, I mean, I didn't anticipate that this would be a building that had a direct line of sight into the centre of town, so that could have been a bloodbath, but I mean, it didn't turn out to be. The Germans were more concentrated with firing up and through here, which is, once again, I'm okay with that. Moving across the field, yeah, that was good. If the battle hadn't have ended, I think they collapsed anyway. I'm not sure what the morale victory conditions are then. I think morale, if both sides get below 33%, it automatically ends the game. It must be the other threshold must be 25%. The guys in the middle of the road must have been a command troop and they got killed right at the end there, so that's why it ended suddenly. What else can we take away from this? Certainly happy with the sections in here. That, like I said, just before the game ended, 1st Platoon under Lieutenant Mark certainly did the lion's share of the work. They took the bulk of the casualties through this area as well, but they managed to get themselves established here first. I mean, the Germans were never going to get to them, but it could have been a standoff through the hedges here. I was happy they got there first. I was happy the Vickers slowed them down in this area here, and then we were able to push across and take this point, which was critical. The guys in here took some serious casualties. I think most of the damage was done by their mortars in the end, I think. When you let their Panzer Grenadiers get off the chain, though, unsuppressed MG42 fire can be devastating. But I think we kept that under control pretty well. There was a couple of times when 2 or 3 Panzer Grenadier sections had fire superiority coming through here when the 1st Platoon was lined up on this hedgerow. But that was, there was only 2 or 3 times where that was really concerning. Overall, I was pretty happy with the result and actually surprised. So we'll have a little bit of a look here at the stats. So, okay, that's very, very good. So I've lost 6 and 10, so 16 casualties for that victory. That's not bad at all. That's very, very good. The Germans, they fared considerably worse. 8 captured, 45 wounded, 13 killed. That's sort of what you'd expect from a major defeat. Once again, I'm genuinely surprised that I managed to get through that with 16 losses. That's incredible compared to 50 odd, for the Germans. But I think the plan to keep them sort of in close in here worked pretty well. And obviously they didn't get effective fire coming out of the centre here, and they got trapped in the open, which was very, very bad for them. So we can take a look at the individual soldiers now. So 1st Platoon under, was it Mr. Mark? So he's wounded. He got himself a France and Germany star, which is not actually the correct award for that, but we'll let that one slide. The Piat section, the mortar section, they got a kill, that's fine. The Piats, they did nothing. So first section, or one section, 1 killed in action and 1 wounded, and a couple of bravery awards, or bravery notices I should say, and a couple of kills. You get a bravery thing for taking a point, or if the game determines that you actually do something brave. So sometimes you see guys with a lot of bravery awards, which means essentially they've stood up under fire and and shot back and not cowered and all that kind of stuff. So these guys obviously took a point as well, a couple of kills, good for them. Here we go. So Crossman, the loader. So these guys either took 2 points or took 1 point and were also in the fight. So these guys were wounded, they were still in the fight at the end there, Duke and Crossman. If this was a campaign, they would be wounded and then therefore less effective next time they went into action. The 0.5 comes from if they share a kill. It's not really apparent with the infantrymen sharing kills. Usually they get split between a tank commander and a tank gunner, which is obvious enough, so they'll get half a tank each. Here I think it's noting that this person was firing at the same target when this person killed him. So a bit of a share. So he got 4. This guy either shared in a few of these or got 4 outright and shared in 1. This guy got 1 by himself. Here we go. So 1 act of cowardice from Ybeard. He was the guy I saw in the notifications halfway through the battle that he had rallied, so he obviously was cowering at one point, and then he's come back and rallied himself. He would have got the bravery for taking the point or for the rallying, because he's obviously not of that constitution. But when you're lying in a puddle of 4 of your comrades, I can understand that perhaps you might think of other things. Mr. Morrow, Williams got hit. Poulon, Philip, yeah, they did nothing. Donnellan, he did alright, so a couple of bravery awards there. Barclay, the platoon, the company commander, and Brincat, good child. These guys obviously didn't do much except obviously knock about, watching all their buddies go into action. That's alright, I'm okay with that. Company commander's not supposed to get killed, so that's fine. Brincat obviously a pussy. These guys, yeah, so mortars, they weren't as effective as they could have been. Oh, as I say that, yeah, okay. And the Vickers, so actually, this Vickers section must have been the one down south covering the main road. Yeah, they didn't do anything. What about the guys up top? Yeah, here we go. Okay, so 5.5 and 1.5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There you go. Worth their weight in gold right there.